Okay, so today's math lesson is about subtracting fractions. Hopefully you've already gone back and watched our video about adding fractions together. So this is just a follow-up, okay? So when we're subtracting fractions, if the denominators are both the same, you can just subtract the numerators. So it's pretty much like addition and subtraction normally as it would be. However, when they're different, you need to find a common factor and change that, multiply the top and the bottom by the same number, and then you can subtract it from there. So we'll go through some to make that a little bit more clear. When you look at a number and the denominators are both the same, you can just subtract the 4 and the 2, which would equal 2, and then the denominator always stays the same. So the answer of 4/5 minus 2/5 is 2/5. Same as the one here. 6/8 take away 4/8. If both of the denominators are both the same, then you can just leave it as it is and take 6 away from 4, and the answer would be 2/8. Now, if you can see a problem with that one, it is hopefully that you've watched my simplifying fractions activity. And if you're giving an answer like 2/8, you might also want to, get a few more extra marks from your teacher, simplify it down to its lowest form, okay? All right, let's do the bottom one here. We have 4th, 6th, take away 1/5. We can see by just looking at that I know that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. 30 is the lowest common multiple of both of these numbers. Now to get to 30, I know I need to times the 6 by the 5, so I times the top by the 5 as well. 5 needs to times by 6, so we times the top by 6. So that becomes 20 over 30, take away 6 over 30. Now that the denominators are both the same, we can just subtract the top, the numerators, and we get 14 over 30. Now my tip about simplifying fractions, if you're not 100% sure what the lowest common multiple would be to half at first, so we get 7 over 15, and I can see by 7 over 15 that there is no smaller multiple than that, so my answer would be 7 over 15. Now if you wait 2 seconds, I click my fingers, we're going to go a bit harder. Okay, ready? Whoa. I don't know how I went from being straight at school to being at home in a different outfit, but I don't know what's happened, but let's keep going. Okay, so we're going to move on to a little bit more difficult stuff. Now we're going to move on to what happens if we're subtracting mixed fractions. So we're subtracting fractions that have a whole number and a fraction involved. Now there's a couple of different types of these that you would have to do. Some of them are super easy, some of them get a little bit more tricky. So we're going to go through each type. The first one's the easiest type, and that's when both the whole number over here is bigger than this one, and the fraction over this side is bigger than that as well, and the denominators are the same. This one, you can just do 2, take away 1 is 1, and these denominators are the same, so 2 take away 1, you're left with 1 1/4. Super easy. It's very rare you're going to find one that easy. The second one, the reason why we can't subtract this from the start is because the denominators are different. So the first thing we're going to do is make them the same. Now the common factor of 4 and 3 is 12. So we're going to times the bottom by 3, the top by 3. This side we times by 4 and by 4. Now we write our new question over this side. So we write 2 and 8/12 take away 3/12. Okay, now, sorry. 1 and 3/12. Sorry, made a bit of a mistake there. Okay, so now we can do the 2 take away the 1, which left with 1, and the denominator is the same, so you do 8 take away 3, and you're left with 5/12. Now that is its simplest form, it can't be changed around. So if the denominators are different, you need to make them the same. The third option here is when you make the denominators the same and it still doesn't work. So let's do that. We're going to change the 3 times that by 4, make the bottom one and change that by 4. Then over here, we're going to change this to make it to 12 as well. Change top times the top and the bottom by 3. Then we're going to write out our new question here. So it's 2 and 3/12 take away 1 and 8/12. So yes, you can have the 2 and you can take away the 1. But then with the fraction, you can't have 3 and take away the 8. It just doesn't make sense. So what are we going to do? Now the best option here is to turn it back into a improper fraction to see if it can help you. So remember our acronym of MAD. So it's multiply, add, keep the denominators the same. Multiply, add, keep the denominators the same. So 2 times 12 is 24, plus 3, 27, and the denominators will stay the same. This time 12 times 1, 12 plus 8 is 20. Now I've got a scenario in which the denominators are the same and this number is bigger, so we can subtract. So 27 take away 20, the answer here would be 7/12. So the denominator, that actually doesn't need to be changed now. That's its simplest form. Now let's have a look at the bottom one. 4.5 take away 4/5. Okay, let's see if this one will make sense. Now let's find a common factor, which would be 10. So 2 times 5 and 5 times 2. Remember, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Okay, let's write our new question out. 4 and 5/10 take away 8/10. Okay, well, we can't do that now because you can't have 5/10 and take away 8 of them. So the best way to do it is to change this number to an improper fraction. Yep. Okay, so remember, we're going to get mad, multiply, add, keep the denominator the same. 4 times 10 is 40, plus 5, 45, keep the denominator the same, take away 8/10. Now 45 take away 8 is 37. Now if you wrote 37 to me in a test, I would say that's actually not correct because I asked you as a mixed fraction, and I expect the answer is a mixed fraction. So let's change it back. How many times is 10 going to 30? 3. How many is left over? 7/10. The answer becomes 3 7/10. So you can see that they progressively get more difficult. But the main thing would be the denominators firstly have to be the same. Then you check whether that actually can be subtracted by that number. And if it can't be, you need to change it into a mixed fraction, into an improper fraction. Then it makes sense, and then you change it back to a mixed fraction at the end. I know it sounds a bit complicated, and I'm happy to go through it more with you. Just let me know if this was helpful. Thanks.